Hello, good friends. This is Rachel Kinney Brown, your youth director, and I'm here to share with you the devotion for week 4 of Transformations, the Lent edition. As you can see, I've prepared the table here. I put on my host hat because I'm expecting some dinner guests. And we are going to be talking about who is in with Jesus. Who does Jesus associate with? Who are Jesus's friends? Who are the people around him? Because friends, when we look at the Gospel of Mark, we can see that Jesus was kind of a rebel. He associated with people who were on the outskirts of town, right? He associated with the people who were kind of edgy, maybe who had bad reputations or were shunned in society for whatever reason. So friends, we are going to be setting a symbolic table so we can represent what it means to make space at the table for others and who's in with Jesus. So unfortunately, COVID has changed my dinner plans a little bit. I wasn't able to, have humans occupying these seats, but no worries, friends, because I have great representations of all of you right here. So here we have Wishbone, we have another Wishbone, we have Sonic the Hedgehog, and we have, this is my girl. This is my girl, Casey. She's my one. My friends here at the table represent the idea that anyone, no matter if they're a misfit or if they feel like they're a sinner or they're messing up all the time, maybe they feel like they can't quite figure things out, maybe they're like the disciples who didn't even fully realize how Jesus was working in their lives. All of that aside, my friends, we're always welcome to the table. We're always welcome to Jesus, and we can live into that community. So friends, to kick us off, I'm going to read us a passage from Mark chapter 2. Jesus went out again beside the sea. The whole crowd gathered around him, and he taught them. As he was walking along, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax booth. He said to him, "Follow me." He got up and followed him. And as he sat at dinner in Levi's house, many tax collectors and sinners were also sitting with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. When the scribes of the Pharisees saw that he was eating with sinners and tax collectors, they said to his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" When Jesus heard this, he said to them, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick, I have come to call not the righteous, but the sinners." Something that's really interesting about Mark's gospel is the way that the characters around Jesus are portrayed. Often they are portrayed as sort of dim-witted or unreliable or cowardly or maybe downright treacherous. And often the people around Jesus don't fully realize who he is. They think he's a cool dude with really great, beautiful things to share, and he's changing their life with his teachings, but they can't quite grasp that he's the Son of God. It's really interesting that the people that Jesus surrounds himself with are sort of a mixed bag. They have both good qualities and bad qualities and qualities in between good and bad and all sorts of things. But Jesus is welcoming of all types of people, the people who don't even know who he is. Even with some of these bad traits and some of these good traits, all these pieces come together to form this person who is just as lovable and valuable as anyone to Jesus. One thing that Jesus did consistently was eat dinner with people who weren't of the cream of the crop, if you know what I'm saying. These were the marginalized, the outsiders, the social bumpkins. They were the marginalized, the spiritual outsiders. When the Pharisees saw this, they took offense and they asked the disciples, "Why is he eating with tax collectors and sinners?" It was preposterous to them that Jesus would lower himself to sit at the table with people who were so unlike him. So back in the day, during Jesus' time, mealtime was not just getting it done, getting the food in the body, nourishing yourself. It was more about sort of acting out power dynamics. So there were, in each seat at the table, each seat represented a different level of importance. So really, it was sort of a time to flex your social muscles and be like, "Look how important I am." Meals were staged to honor some people and shame others. Some people received places of honor and extravagant food, while others were intentionally given lesser seats and less to eat. Many of these meals were held in public, so people walking by could get a really good idea of who was who and who was powerful and who was not. So Jesus' eating habits were like a scandal to society. To religious leaders in society, he had no decency. He acted like a fool. The image of him breaking bread with misfits was absurd. In fact, he ate so often with people who were considered beneath him, that he even was referred to as a glutton and a drunkard. That means he overeats and overdrinks. By accepting them as friends and equals, Jesus welcomed the outsiders and erased the social laws that ordered how dinner would go and how society would be structured. So one way that we get in touch with this idea today is through communion. It's also called Holy Communion, Mass, or the Eucharist. The Lutheran view, the ELCA view, which is what we are here at Bethel, provides for us an open table, which means that anyone in the whole congregation, anyone who attends church is welcome to receive communion. There is no segregating, dividing, or separating people out, or not allowing people to be part of communion based on worthiness. In fact, for ELCA Lutherans, the meal is only for the undeserving. What does that mean? Does that mean we are undeserving? The reason why they say this is because only the undeserving can receive the benefits. Meaning, if you already believe that everything's all good, that you're righteous, you're better than everyone, the idea is that maybe your heart's not open and ready to receive the forgiveness and grace and mercy that Jesus gives. So the idea, friends, is that we live in a broken world, so that brokenness can rub off on us. But the idea, friends, is that even with the brokenness, even with messing up sometimes, we can acknowledge that we're always growing and transforming and changing. And the reason that we can do that with grace and love and giving ourselves forgiveness is because Jesus welcomes us to his table. And that's why communion is so special, friends, is because Jesus started communion back in the day when it was like really radical and it was really pushing the boundaries of society. So the idea, friends, is that when we take communion together, is that we're saying every single person belongs and every single person deserves to receive the goodness and the love and the acceptance that God gives us, because everyone is welcome at the table. There's no one who gets to be cut out. The dinner table or the altar at church, they become this place of where new human community is formed. It is where all of these dividing lines which separate us and make us feel judged and not accepted and make us feel different than other people, all of those lines are erased when we can lean into Jesus's gracious hug and embrace and welcome. That's what is happening at communion and the table, my friends, is when you share a meal with somebody, you form a bond and a connection, and you sit at the table together and you see each other face to face, knowing that we are all mixed bags. We have a mess of stuff going on inside of us, but we know that we are always deeply worthy and lovable because Jesus made space for us, made room for us at the table.